Queensland Raceway is set to explode on March 18 to 20 with the return of Premier Two-Year-old action for round 2 of the 2022 MyBike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championship presented by Motul. For tickets and event details, head to asbk.com.au.
Hello and welcome to Queensland Raceway. For the first time in many years, we're back here with the MyBike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championship presented by Motul. The teams have been adjusting to some interesting weather towards the end there, but not much changed in terms of the order, with Mike Jones from the Yamaha Racing team top of the table. And Mike, you said earlier in the day you've had plenty of time going around here. It's obviously stood you in good stead. Take us through your day.
Yeah, had a fantastic day here at Queensland Raceway for the second round of the Australian Superbike Championship. As you mentioned, having done a lot of laps here, being a home circuit for me, only live 40 minutes from the circuit, so that plays a big part. Coming here because you just the track like the back of your hand. You don't have to. You're not trying to learn the circuit. You're not working too hard to try and understand where to find speed. So it definitely came quite easy today to be able to go the speed that we did and be at the top of the sessions. But at the same time, it's a big credit to the Yamaha team and the way that they work. They've given me a really good motorcycle to be able to do the job today. Now,
the Friday at Phillip Island, we were all pretty horrified at how fast Maxwell was. But looking at your time, your fastest time, 107.967 to a 108.28, at this circuit, that feels like the same sort of gap.
It doesn't feel like it to me, no.
I'm just putting some pressure on you, Mike. I'm trying to put you in the Maxwell chair as we speak.
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously Phillip Island is a bigger circuit and a bigger lap, so the chance to sort of have a bigger gap there over your competitors, it's I think definitely a little bit more possible. Whereas this circuit, being a tighter track and a shorter lap, then being able to have such a gap over your competitors is probably less of a chance. So, having that few tenths advantage to second place is a nice buffer, I think.
We were discussing up here in the media centre, what's it going to be for pole and what are you going to need in the race for a lap time? The general feeling up here was today's times were pretty slow. Do you agree?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think that based on previous testing here, we're kind of pretty close to matching what we did here in the test. So I wouldn't say that it was that slow, really. I mean, I'm sure that I certainly think that at the end of today, we could have found maybe a little bit more speed had it not been for the rain that came in and stopped us from getting a little bit more riding in that last practice session. But I do think that then for qualifying, we're going to have to be in the high sevens, and I'd believe the race to be in the high sevens to the low eights.
All right, we'll turn now to Bryan Starring. Bryan, I've already spoken to you today, and we've talked about, you talked about the virtues of the Ducati. 4th overall for the day, probably a little bit disappointing given the early speed you had.
I'm not disappointed at all.
Oh, well, Bryan, I am.
Okay.
I'm going to put the pressure on you.
Yeah,
I feel that you've got a podium bike and you're 4th today. Take us through it.
Well, I think we overall had a positive day. We had one little miss up there in the second session, but even still, that's the first time I've found the limit of the motorbike all year. So that's fine. And we've had, I think, quite good pace on used tyre. So, not that we rode around the whole day on a used tyre, but everyone, like Jonesy just said, everyone missed the opportunity to really see what they're capable of doing at the end of the session today. And, maybe I missed the window there after my mistake in the second session. So, look, that's a bit of a wrap on our day. I also think it's true that really Jonesy's the only one that really matched his testing time today, and everyone else is just a little bit off.
Yeah, so what do you think you can bring out of the bike tomorrow? Is it going to come down to the weather, or have you got some secret changes that you're ready to tell everyone about on live broadcast?
Bit of secret sauce. Yeah, I don't know. Look, I mean, there's still a few things that I'm looking to improve on our motorbike, and a few areas to take confidence in. So we will keep nutting out that. But there's a couple of areas where I know that we're doing pretty well. So yeah, I guess we'll see what qualifying brings.
I'll turn now to one of our two rookies who've joined us for today, Brock Pearson. Brock, for a lot of the riders here, it's been an adjustment process because we haven't been to Queensland Raceway as a series for many years. And for you, it's a double adjustment. And I'll be asking Max the same question. Adjusting to the Superbike, you're still in that rookie phase, and then adjusting to the circuit. Take us through, how's that been?
Yeah, well, obviously I'm quite local to here at Queensland Raceway, but it's actually just not been a track I've ever really rode because we've never raced here on the calendar. So I've never really saw a point to come out here and ride. I've usually spent most of my time at Morgan Park. So, yeah, it's definitely a learning curve. I come out here a month ago when we had a couple of days worth of testing and I really surprised myself and, yeah, went pretty fast and unfortunately haven't quite matched that today. So, yeah, I'm just trying to work a little bit on myself. It's easy on the Superbike to get lost, especially as a rookie and, you know, make one step forward and then all of a sudden find yourself taking a few steps back. So, yeah, I'm a little bit up, down and around, but hopefully tomorrow I can go in the right way.
So would top 10 in the race satisfy you, or are you always pushing for higher? I know what you blokes are like.
I really wanted a top 10 at the first round. So regardless, to be like putting a top 10 for this round is sort of just putting me back a little bit further. Like I think at some point of the year, like I'll click and where I'll click and what stage of the year, I'm not sure. But yeah, ideally, yeah, I need to be in the top 10. If I can fight towards more like the 6th, 7th, I believe there's like a bit of a group of riders there that I should be able to jump in with. Obviously, the first 5 guys are all pretty much, I could probably expand on that a bit more, but there's a lot of guys that are probably capable of winning a race on the right day. And at the moment, that's not me. So, yeah, like when we get a little bit later on in the year, we start ticking off places like Goulburn and Morgan Park where I really enjoy, and you could probably ride the Superbike a little bit more like a 600. It'll probably come into play. But, yeah, until then, I just need to keep working on what I got.
To be fair, you're 10th at the moment, and in front of you, there's only 2 riders having some sort of super sport or superbike title. So you're in pretty good company.
Yeah, and that's it. Like, there's a lot of guys around me, and yeah, like a memory popped up on Facey a couple of weeks ago, and it was like a picture of me and Herf at the North Brisbane Cup, and I was only so little, and yeah, he'd won the Brisbane Cup on a 450 senior, and I was like on an 85 or something. And like, you know, now, you know, I'm lining up with these guys and, yeah, like you said, a lot of guys have won Superbike races and some championships. So like I said, at the moment, I'm not at that level, but it's cool to be able to share the track with them and be able to learn as much as I can.
Brian Starring, you accused me of making you feel old. I'd like you to now make that accusation at Brock Pearson, who just called Troy Herfoss old as well. It's a tough caper, this caper, isn't it?
Brian looks young, so that's all that matters.
He does. Speaking of looking and being young,
I'm only just dicing him up for a tow at some stage of the year. I don't know when it'll
this
come.
may not be the spot.
When I can actually sit in it, it'll work. But right now, it's not going to work. So.
I've already given him 5 toes this year.
Yeah.
I've run out of fingers on his hand.
Yeah, it's gave me a couple.
Oh, speaking of blokes who are rookies, Max Stauffer, it's your rookie season in the Superbikes and you're still a young bloke coming up here to Queensland. There's so much to learn, pretty much following along what Brock said, sorry, I'll try to get your name right. Difficulty for you today, 18th, and you had a little run out in the damp conditions. Take us through your day.
Yeah, look, I'm sort of struggling a little bit, but I'm just learning. There's a lot to sort of take in. It's a tight track and you sort of need to ride a Superbike properly to go fast, and I think I'm starting to find myself riding a Superbike a little bit more like a 600 still, and just little things like that I need to try and fix.
Well, just for the fans, because I like to hear words like that, but I need you to explain it. What is the difference between the way you rode a 600 and the way you need to ride a Superbike?
Just the way you get the bike turned, so you can get the power to the ground and sort of drive to the next corner. You know, it's a tricky thing to do right, and I'm certainly finding that at the moment. But yeah, we're just learning. And today we didn't put a new tyre in. We didn't use a soft, so I think come tomorrow, hopefully I can find a little bit more time just by putting a soft in. But yeah, we just got to see what happens. I'm starting to feel a little bit more comfortable just to keep fixing things and keep learning.
And how's it been working with your dad? It was very interesting chatting to him. He says you don't think the way he used to think as a rider. Can you take us through some of those differences? Maybe you don't even know them.
Oh, I don't really know too many of them. I just know that he went all right back in the day.
And he tells you that, I assume?
Oh, yeah, definitely. He's got a big head. But no, it's cool to work with him, you know. Like, he's just got so much experience and he raced all these guys, you know.
Once again, making the old boys feel old. It seems to be a new sport. But to be clear, what he said is that he tended to just go out there and try to make it work, make some changes and go hard. But he says you take a more analytical, slower approach. You make a change, you go a bit quicker, you come back, have another think about it and go again. Whereas he was more, all right, that'll do, let's go racing sort of attitude.
Yeah, he's probably a bit braver than me, to be honest, especially at this point in my career. I just like to have things working for me and, you know, just keep working on things. You know, I don't want to go out there and try and make something work that's definitely not going to work. I'd rather just, you know, work on it and think about it and try and progress from what we've got.
All right, well, look, we'll wrap up there. It's been an interesting day, an interesting phase in the weather. It's the last of the rain for this weekend, gentlemen, so I think we can all put that behind us. Hopefully we get some good running tomorrow in terms of weather and we'll see those lap times drops. But from here at Queensland Raceway for now, on Friday, it's good evening.
Queensland Raceway is set to explode on March 18 to 20 with the return of Premier 2-Award action for round 2 of the 2022 My Bike Motorcycle Insurance